Welcome back to Nottingham. One more game today, and that is going to be a mixed open round robin clash. It's Scotland taking on Ireland. Scotland unusually in red, which is not something we often see, and Ireland in white and green, so unusual colours. And I'm delighted to welcome Shanghai, who is joining me on commentary. Great to have you along, mate.
G'day, John. It's good to be back again. First time for me at the Euros commentating, but multiple time listener. Glad to be here, mate.
Long time viewer, never.
and you're right. I tell you what, it's going to be difficult to remember that red means Scotland, isn't it?
Yeah, it certainly is. As they make a very fast start on this one, and I think they're down straight away.
Absolutely, that's the easiest score they're going to score today. They'll be very, very pleased with that one. And if we have a look in that end zone on the left side of the field, that shadow is going to play havoc with the players through this game. So hopefully we'll have a little bit of spectacular stuff happening down there.
Great bit of speed there showing. Innes Phillip putting the ball over, and Scotland take a very early lead in this one. So Ireland with a chance to come straight back, and they've got a chance of their own, and I think that was a touch over on the far side. Indeed it was.
It was great skills to be able to draw that ball in, but she just had to have that second grab at it and stopped her from getting the grounding there, and great coverage by the defender.
Well, that's just not taken, and Scotland will have the ball back, starting deep on their 7 metre. So how have you enjoyed the Euros so far?
It's been an absolute ripper, actually. We've had fantastic weather. The quality of players is just spectacular, and to see so many nations turn up with so many teams, and to see the skills across, even down to some of the newer teams, really good games. You can't fault that.
No, not at all. And we've seen all categories now here on pitch one as Scotland look to go through again. I think there was a touch, and yet Ireland have the ball back. Yeah, we've seen every category on here. So many great games, and we've still got another 3 days to go as well.
Well, that's going to be pretty good, isn't it? By the end of it, we'll have quite a few people with nice brown skin from the sun. Let's hope the weather holds out for the next couple of days.
It is forecast to. It's forecast to be like this for the next 3 days as well. So.
Now, I'm not sure whether our athletes like you more or like you less when you say that. I think a few people are saying a little bit of rain might help to just cool things down a little bit, but honestly, when you're playing in conditions like this, there's nothing better.
It is actually forecast to be slightly cool. I think 20-21 degrees for the next 3 days, but also dry. It was incredibly humid yesterday. It's certainly not as humid today, even though the temperature is similar. Good take.
Lovely pass, lovely catch, wasn't it?
Yeah, Emma Curran with a great take, but unfortunately was just touched. Ireland coming again. Great speed. The over on pass just not finding its mark, and Scotland who will start again from the 7 metre line. So they do get an early score, of course.
A great little offload there, and that's given them the extra 5 metres as they come towards the subs box. And unfortunately, they just couldn't get that ball down square to the scoreline. You've got to square up before you roll that ball, and they've handed it over and given the Irish a fantastic opportunity to come back.
Good run there by Ireland.
Getting their favourite team on, executing some subs, slowing the play down to get their strike middles in there. So you'd have to favour them to score here, drawing Scotland out from the line, getting them up. No, not quite sure. They're not seeing what they want to see, are they?
Oh, there's space out on this right-hand side again. It's Emma Curran who's got herself free, but they decide to go to the left-hand side, and the pass isn't completed.
You can see they're trying to isolate the two laces on the right-hand side of the defence, so the far side away from the camera in the Scottish team. And if they can just get a one-person overlap out there, you'd have to say with the speed they've got in the catch and pass, they're going to exploit that.
And Scotland to come forward again, they're leading 1-0. Looks to come back into the middle. Oh, that's a handling error. Callum Swearing that's and it seems to be catching.
Now this is one thing where the referees really don't quite like this, because the referee's done a hard job of moving from one side of the ball to the other, and then they drop it again, move from the other side of the ball back to one again, and the third one in a row. You really feel like blowing a penalty at a certain point and saying to the players, please give me a break, come on.
Wait, Scotland, and another handling error, and that will give the ball back to Ireland. So a cacophony of errors in the past minute or so. And it is Ireland who do get to their sub box. They bring fresh legs on, but whistle goes.
And Jono, you get the prize for today for the use of the word cacophony. Cacophony was in fact the secret word for today for all those who are listening.
What do I win?
Well, yes, we'll have to determine that. I'll write down the secret word for tomorrow already. How's that sound?
I think some honey and lemon for the vocal cords is probably quite good right about now.
That will be the prize for it. A couple of lem sips and a strong cup of tea.
Scotland attacking again. They're on the line, and there's a bit of space out on the right, but not quite taken. It was the right idea, but unfortunately Ruth Ferguson, it was a little high, and coming into the sun from the shade, and that could make a difference as well.
Yeah, I think the Scottish should be a bit displeased with that, because I think they made that last dump only a few metres out from the line. They were actually a little bit surprised when the line actually came up so close to them. So that shade actually plays havoc for both the attack and defence, and it actually makes it quite difficult. So it's really important here that when you're in attack and defence, that the wingers on each team are letting their middles know exactly where they are relative to the line, so you get the right plays at the right time. And that's one of those teamwork skills which is absolutely invaluable at the top end of the sport.
It certainly is, as Scotland have it again, working through the middle. Drop down, quick play, and that's, I think the touch may have been made, was it?
No, that referee's signalling touch.
No, it's a touchdown. Good try, Scotland. It's 2-0 they lead now.
You can see the fantastic awareness by our last scoring there. She's actually taken the slide before she's even caught that pass, so she knows that getting the ball to the ground is going to make the difference between being touched and getting the touchdown, and that's excellent skills. She's really pulled one out of the bag there for the team.
So 2-0 Scotland leading. Work for Ireland to do. Final touch. Good defence by Scotland as well. They have run out of touches, and Scotland will have the ball once again. So just hiding behind a cloud, which I'm sure both teams will be happy about.
Actually makes it a cleaner visual picture of the scoreline on the left side of the field, so that will actually improve the quality of the game. Funny how these little environmental effects make a change to things.
Certainly do. I'm sure Dan, our cameraman, to our right hand side, he's going to be very happy that the sun has gone in. Yeah, thumbs up coming from Dan.
Big thumbs up, and he doesn't have to squint as he looks down that end either, so his optometrist thanks us on his behalf as well.
So Scotland, good drive from their own end.
They're very, very patient in that. They know what they want to do. They're happy to draw that defence back out again.
Just heading back to the 7 metre.
So a referee on field at the moment, Alice Watchorn, commonly known as Scoobs, actually one of England's quite skilled and experienced players as well as a referee. So she definitely knows what she's doing out there.
Quite a heavy touch there, not given as the sun pops back out again. Long shadows as well, so obviously we're into August now. The sun getting a little lower in the sky as we head towards the evening. There's an injury on the play here.
Not looking happy with that, so I hope that one's good, but no, he's definitely in a little bit of pain.
Yeah.
So what's the best game we've had today so far? What's the most excitement?
I didn't actually see the England-Ireland game in the Men's Open. I think that was the one that had the best atmosphere. I was on my break, but I did manage to watch the last 10 minutes, and that looked incredibly quick. We had a great game, last one in the mixed 30s between France and Scotland. I think 10-7 that finished. But yeah, we've had some very, very, very good games. Game between France and Belgium that finished 17-0, but it was great to watch just for the quality of the French attack. There was some superb play, really rapid acceleration and transition from defence to attack, great use of the sub-box, and even though it was essentially a very one-sided game, it was great to watch from that respect. So.
Isn't it fascinating this year how the French teams, in any conversations you have, the French teams are now in there as well, and that's brilliant for touch. You know, if we had wound the clock back a number of years, we would have had England, Scotland, Wales featuring at the top of that, and now we've got other nations pressuring those guys coming through. That's good.
I think Ireland getting mentioned a lot as well.
Ireland, it's good to see. You know, we've had some upsets in the men's open. We've had a couple of other upsets across the board. So the medals are certainly open for this year.
I think the opening game of France beating England in the men's open, I think that raised a lot of eyebrows.
I think I'm obliged at this point to say allez le bleu.
It was obviously
lovely pick up.
Yes, it's we had Germany against Belgium here on this stream first game, and then sort of news was coming through at the end that England had been beaten, and I think that really did cause some shockwaves. I think they've won every game since. I think they've punished every team they've played since then. But,
sometimes a loss or a shock during a game can get the behavioural issues down and the focus just exactly right, and you get that hunger to win again, that need to perform, that will to, no matter what happens, cover your teammates' back pocket, make sure you've got that defence super in line, and it gives you that one extra quick step in attack to say, yeah, I can reach that gap, I can get that ball. And you know, coming back from being one down is actually a pretty powerful motivator. So we've got the Irish attacking again, straight up the centre. Scotland calmly retreating into this one, so let's see what happens. Retreating back to the referee and moving forward is one of those skills. Yeah, Irish waiting for them to come back out again. Quick back into the left. Has he got it down? He has. Oh, no, we've got a touch. My mistake. I should be watching the referee, shouldn't I? Anyone would think I'd know something about refereeing.
Joe Balance, he really thought he got that down on the dive through. He may get it down now. But the touch came in again.
So what we have is the inside player here has been offside, and he's forced the Irish to take a channel that they didn't really want to take. So the touch that's been made on the scorer was legal, but the referee's pulled it back for the advantage, and now we can see just a couple of touches later the Irish maintain that strong attack on the line, and sooner or later they're going to find a chink in the armour there, and obviously they've done so outside the window.
The wing puts that down. It was third time lucky for Ireland on that drive.
But look at that pass. He's in a slightly off-centre body position, but as he goes down towards the ground, manages to get that pass out. Nice little spiral straight into the bread basket. Winger catches it and puts it straight on the ground.
Apologies, we've got a couple of gremlins with the scoreboard at the moment, but we played 12 and a half minutes in this first half, and it's Scotland who lead by 2-1.
Nice close score. You wouldn't want to say what's going to happen coming into half time, but it'll be interesting.
Yes, it will be very interesting, and especially if it stays close. And that was a feature of the last match that we had on here between Scotland and France. Scotland coming back into it early in the second half, and then France ran away with it again. But it was real tit for tat. It's like from every tap off there seemed to be a score, and I think there was 2 for each side in that second half, and Scotland just wouldn't let France pull away. Eventually they did. A very, very close game, and we're seeing something similar here as well.
We've had some amazing scoring matches. I was out on field 5 a couple of matches ago, and in the first half, 17 touchdowns. And you'd think it would be one-way traffic. No, in fact, relatively evenly split. So some of these games are super duper fast. Lovely pass, lovely catch. That's some very, very reliable hands they have out there on this left-hand side.
Great defence by Emma Curran of Ireland out. And Ireland have the ball once again.
Let's make the call. Play it. Dan, you got Rob.
Taking towards their sub-box, getting fresh legs on. Over halfway, always handling error, and that gives the ball back to Scotland almost on halfway. And the Gremlins are fixed with the scoreboard. Great job by the boys back at base. So 5 minutes to go in this first half. Scotland leading 2-1. And if you are just joining us, don't be confused by the colours. Scotland are in red and Ireland are in the white and green.
At least if we can narrow down which colour the Irish team are, then process of elimination helps us on this one. But certainly I saw a game earlier today where Wales were in black and Jersey were in red, and it was incredibly difficult to remember which was which.
I had one earlier where we had Wales against Portugal, Portugal in green, Wales in black, and I of course called it the wrong way.
These are the pitfalls of being a commentator. Every now and then the brain takes over and takes it away.
Yeah. Well, of course my brain went, green must be Wales.
Absolutely. That's the way it goes. Good calm defence, but the Scottish are holding back that pocket defender number 9 there.
Good
So
speed,
the Irish
back
know.
inside.
Oh, lovely.
Good touch though.
Look at that coverage. There's 3 Scottish defenders within the space of about 10 metres on that far side of that scoreline. There's very, very few teams that can exploit a gap like that. So the Scottish are playing excellent squeeze defence when they need to out there.
And one of the features of these European Championships we've seen is how much the wingers have been used and the gaps that do seem to open up on the wings. But we have seen some teams who have managed to sort of counter that. They often have a heavy side and have 3 defence over on the wing side that just plugs up those holes and doesn't allow the wingers to get through. It's really fascinating to see at times.
The strategies around the gender mix in the mixed team is really one of those critical aspects. Some of the teams will stack 2 ladies towards one wing and say to the other team, hey, if you can try and exploit the gap out there, go for it, but it'll be on your poor passing side. So there is a strategy in terms of how you align your team so that you show what you want to show, and you try and actually influence the attack to play towards a strength that's hidden behind a weakness. So there really is some strategy in these games.
Well, Ireland have used the wing and they have got it down, and it is all square 2-2. Lois Lalore speeding through there and getting it down in the corner.
2.5 minutes to go. Let's see whether we can have another touchdown come out of this one.
And it's been a good comeback by Ireland as well, because Scotland 2-0 up very, very early on. And they might go 3. Oh, it was a great ball. And it was so nearly taken by Frances Campbell.
I think that'd be one of the first balls I've seen Frances drop. She's normally incredibly reliable with that one, but obviously the visual picture down there, certainly with the defender in that gap up with her hands up to try and spoil it. And even though she hasn't managed to catch the ball, she's actually spoiled the sight picture enough for the winger that she's achieved the outcome her team needed.
I'm driving again.
Lovely change of direction, change of pace. Unfortunately, no, we've had a touch passing there, so player with the ball's been touched and then proceeded to throw that ball onwards, so just a poor timing there, let the defender just get a little too close before dumping it off.
Scotland towards their sub-box, bring some fresh legs on.
1 minute to go. If they are aware of it, they're certainly trying to control the clock. Nope, we have another mistake. They've missed that mark on that.
Yeah, I think there's definitely someone timing it. There's a couple of coaches or extras in the Scottish box, and someone has a phone, and I think they are timing, have been timing the halves, so they will know that they are in the last minute. I would assume there's someone on the Irish side doing exactly the same as well.
Certainly in the past few years that's been a function of the teams, and they've done a really good job of that. I remember 10 years ago when everybody in the box would ask the referee, how much time left, sir? Of course, most of our referees don't wear a watch for exactly that reason.
And of course, when everything's done off a central buzzer, so you've got what, 8-9 fields around here, everything, and with the NTS Development and Elite Series as well, everything goes off that central buzzer.
Lovely change of pace. Will she make it in there?
She will, you know.
Brilliant.
Oh, what timing!
And you can see those two inside runners. They're there in support, but they're also making it just a little bit more difficult for the defenders to reach the ball carrier. So perfectly legal play, really good positioning in order to give that extra step of pace. And I think that's made the difference there with the touchdown.
Here's the highlights of the game so far. So this was Scotland's first touchdown in this fillet, popping the ball down, and Scotland took an early 2-0 lead. This fillet involved again a good pass in side, Catherine McHardy putting the ball down, but then Ireland plugged away for the rest of the half, and they managed to get a couple of tries of their own to bring it back level.
Such a lovely conversion pass there, isn't it?
Yeah, right out to the wing.
You can see the winger get the side on body position there, so she's got a much easier catch than trying to overrun that ball.
And then this was the final try, right at the end. Alice Malcolm Wilkinson, great speed in the corner. It is 3-2, but Scotland lead. We've got 20 minutes to go of the day.
You'd certainly say, as the Scottish coach, you'd be in that huddle down there and you'd be saying to your team, look, we've got that 1 point in the bag, we've ground this out, yes, they've come back a little bit, so let's be cautious, let's be wary of them, but let's play the game we've got. And that's actually probably one of the real strong points about this game so far, that both the teams have stuck to their game plan. We haven't seen any plays that look as if they're dreamed up out of the air. They've been following a particular set of patterns. They've been executing those patterns. They've been going to the high probability sorts of scores, and it's been excellent defence in most cases that have frustrated them. But, you know, really strong play out of both of these teams here.
Look at the state of play in the mixed open as regards the round robin table. England top 100%, Wales second 100% themselves, so that is going to be some battle when those two face each other. But Scotland at the moment in third place with 3 wins and a loss. And Scotland's results, they had an 8-5 loss against Wales, a 6-5 victory against France, a 15-1 victory against Bulgaria, and then a 9-4 victory over Jersey. So that sees them in third place. As for Ireland, currently they are in 6th place in out of the 10 teams. They've won 1, lost 2 and drawn 1 from their 4 games so far. Opened up with a 9-7 victory over the Netherlands. Then an 11-11 draw with Italy. That must have been some game yesterday.
That would be an absolute cracker of a game, and I bet you Ireland would be wondering, you know, what more do we need to do to try and win that sort of game?
Another high-scoring game they was involved in on Field 5 earlier this morning. A 16-11 loss to France. I can imagine that was some game as well. And then against Wales earlier this afternoon, an 11-10 loss to the Welsh. So they've been involved in some very close games.
True. The Welsh being in that second position, they'd be absolutely thrilled with having just that 1 point win, and just that 1 point's made the difference between second and third place there. So you'd have to actually say that second and third place are very closely, almost not separated at all.
Talking of Wales, England, both 100% at the top. We do have that here on Field 1 tomorrow. That is the second game live on stream on Field 1. Wales against England in the Mixed Open. Mark your diaries for that one, mark your calendars. Both teams with 4 wins out of 4, so that should be an absolute cracker.
I might see if I can invite myself back for that one. Mixed is actually my favourite part of this sport. I think touch, having mixed players on the field at the same time, I think that is the marquee statement for touch. Everybody can play together, and for the teams to integrate all the capabilities across that, I think that is the most positive thing about this entire sport, and it's what I really love. Give me a great mixed game any day. I'll be thrilled to watch it. I'll be thrilled to help out with it.
Of course, from a commentary point of view, I've been very much brought up on mixed. I've commentated the last 2 seasons on the NTS Elite and NTS Development Series, so yeah, I can absolutely see where you're coming from there. But from a personal point of view as well, it's also great to see the Women's Open and the Men's Open here at international level, and just seeing that sort of level of skill that there is there in both those competitions as well.
It's funny, in all the developing countries that touch starts to enter into around the globe, mixed is where the genesis of touch is, because you can get together a group of people and it becomes a social thing as well as a sport. So most of the countries actually, strangely enough, become strong in mixed first, and then as they get more and more players, they specialise then into men's and women's. And then as you get those like groups together, then they compete really intensely, and you get that exceptional quality of play you get out of the Men's Open and Women's Open.
I think that was something that I think it was Mal Day was saying earlier today on commentary. We were talking about Bulgaria coming into this competition. A developing nation in touch, probably haven't got the players to make a separate men's and women's squad, but they have the players to make a mixed squad.
Exactly right.
Here in mixed.
And let's give a shout out to them. They scored 1 touchdown in that high scoring game. I bet you they celebrated that 1 touchdown as if they won the entire game.
I'm sure they did. We saw them on Field 1 yesterday. It was great to see them on here.
The inside gossip is I saw them talking to Peter Walters, Mr. Touch, earlier today, trying to get training tips from him. So, you know, they've got ambitions out there, and you've got to favour a team that's looking for the best advice they can get and to use it.
But it is all about development. You look at the mix, easily the biggest competition here, 10 teams involved. But it is all about development for them, isn't it? I think there's a clash. And I think they're both okay. Yes, they are. Both carrying on.
Referee having a chat to them and saying, "Would you like a substitute?" Hint, players, whenever the referee offers you a substitute, take a substitute. Go out, get yourself checked out, get a fresh player on board. Safety is always the first objective for this one. So we see a player hit the deck, straight away we're going to stop that game. We've got 3 more days worth of play, and one of the objectives is, of course, to make it through to the end of that.
And I suppose that's the thing about the schedule here. We've got 5 days, but it is quite a brutal schedule for all the teams involved.
Absolutely it is. You know, a standard team of touches 14 people, but in a multi-day tournament, you're allowed 16 people on your roster. So the idea there is you effectively have 2 live reserves. And Touch made the innovation a while ago, of course, that you can change those reserves in and out each game throughout. So it's not like you have a primary 14 and a backup 2. You actually have 16, and you're picking 14 out of those 16 for every single game. But it also helps the teams get over those issues of having those injuries.
And Scotland, who stretched their lead to 2.
Wasn't this good? Have a look at how close he is to that dead ball line before he just takes 1 extra step to make sure that pass has a clean lane. Easy catch, easy touchdown.
Catherine McCarty popping the ball down.
There's a name we've heard a few times today.
It certainly is.
I'm sure we'll hear it a few times more.
Probably will. Another one. It's Emma Curran of Ireland. And she is free on the left hand side, but ball doesn't quite reach her. I think Ireland are going to get another opportunity here now.
So we have in this case the sideline referees asking the defenders to move forward, and they're not complying there. So the on-field referees just sought that advice and applied the right penalty there. And with a fresh set of 6, oh no, they don't even need the 6. One go and they're straight into that centre. Great little low dive there, going underneath the outstretched hand of the defender, and it's very, very difficult to beat.
Dominic Moriaki getting the ball down. Great dive as well.
Isn't it good? One-handed, look at this control. He goes straight down, get that low body position, extend out.
Ireland back within one. But it's like you say, one-handed. A rugby ball isn't the easiest thing to grip two-handed at times. So to be able to have the control to dive with the ball in one hand and put it down, it's a great skill.
Two things: big hands, or when you take that second hand off the ball, you get the ball so you've got that slow downward momentum. You keep your hand on that ball and hope to heck you haven't lost control of it by the time you touch it on the ground. The Inferno balls, which we're using in this one, they're slightly different shape to the old Steeden balls. A little bit wider around the middle, so actually potentially a little bit more difficult to grip. But they also have a shallower sort of taper off towards the end. So
I suppose one thing that has helped the players today is that we've had, apart from a very, very light shower earlier this morning before play started, we've had no rain. It's been dry all day, wind as well. Pitch is very dry, and in turn the balls will be very dry as well.
yeah, we haven't seen much drop ball out of this, which is a real positive. When you have the drop ball, depending on where it happens on the field, it can really disrupt the flow of the attack. It can really lead to a bit of a lopsided game or a little bit of a touchy game. But this one, they're controlled by both teams. You've really got to applaud their ball handling skills. They're not taking any moves which are risky, and avoiding risk can tell the difference between a great team and a team that's perhaps a little bit desperate, and sometimes there is a time for risk. But you can see here, very, very certain, they're making sure all these passes land. Here we go, but no, that Irish right side defence on the far side from the camera is so strong.
Well, good take. Final pass just a little low though, and I think that was down to the fact that when he took the ball initially, it was quite low down, and then had a Irish defender coming towards him, so had to offload it quickly.
See them trying to exploit the Irish winger in defence there. Was just caught a little bit out of position, a little bit inside, a little bit one player outside or one player inside, were in a position to cover neither of those two. So the Scottish knew what they were trying to do there, but unfortunately that last pass just didn't quite land. They wouldn't be happy with that, but they're driving back out. Let's see what can happen.
Ireland, oh, great speed.
Penetration, there we go. Oh, great pass out there. He knew he wasn't going to beat the inside player, so trust in your outside buddy. Going through that line.
Maybe a little high if there's any criticism to be made of the pass out, but certainly the right idea.
Look at that great rushing defence. They're trying to stop the Scottish from reaching the box. No, the Scottish are canny to that. Bring it out, just one player a little wider towards us. Again, aggressive defence there, and they have disrupted the attack there from Scotland.
They have indeed, because it looked a really free-flowing attack. It might still be. I think the touch came in. Emma Curran with the touch on Catherine McCarty. Two players who I think are certainly within shout of MVP for their teams in this game.
They are absolutely central to the attack and defence of both teams. We've been calling them out all day. Great players both. It's these little matchups which make the game so fascinating, don't they?
Scotland thinking they'd scored there, it wasn't given. I think yes, touch was made just as Innes Phillip went over.
They just had that middle section of the defence offside, and they knew they needed to dump quickly and get into that. And they couldn't quite pick it up, but that was really canny play. They knew that the drive up through the middle was going to get them lots and lots of yards.
Scotland having to come back. ball. We've got 11 minutes remaining in this game. There's still just one score in it. 4-3 Scotland lead.
I need a middle, please.
It's been a very, very close game throughout.
Nice reliable hands, 6 or 7 metres each time. They've got the time to make it there. They've got the reliability.
Very patient build-up from Ireland as they go through the middle. Now they're going to go to the wing. Diving through. Was it down? Yes, it was.
Referee says yes, and the Irish celebrate, and doesn't that make the scoreline interesting?
4-4, and it's Lois Lalore again as he picks the ball up here and then just turns on the burners and slides in. So Ireland do have it all square, and to be honest, the way it's gone so far, you would say a draw is probably a fair result here.
I think it would be. I think both teams would be disappointed with it, but I think it's actually reflective of the quality of play. Both teams have been ultra reliable. They've exploited the opportunities they've had.
As Scotland just have again as they go 5-4 ahead, straight from the tap off.
Maybe we should upgrade to 5-5. It's a 4-4 game plus VAT.
He avoided 2 touches there, Ewan Campbell. A really, really good score.
I bet you he can navigate through a crowd in a crowded room very, very easily. Excuse me, thank you very much.
He did say there, with ball in hand, but it's Ireland who comes straight back again. It is 5-5.
Just gets his hands through that gap there and passes around the back of the defender, and honestly, that even the New Zealanders would be proud of those sorts of ball handling skills. You have to be happy with this. And how we look at it on the replay, just gets his hands fully outstretched. Nice little off pass to the left, no problem whatsoever.
Dominic Moriarty goes over again. 5-5 it is. And Scotland's drive is stopped, so the tap off and score is ended.
See the defender pulling out and just allowing the Scottish attacker to mistime that dump and then pulled her onto an angle. Just too many things to try and cope with in one go. Really, really aware defence from the Irish, causing that attacking mistake.
So we all square at 5-5. There's 8 minutes to go. Can one of these teams get the win? It has been very, very close. As we said, a draw is probably the fairest result because it's been very, very even. But you know that probably both of these teams won't be satisfied with a draw with the way that they played this game. That they'll both be wanting the win, and they'll both probably feel that they deserve the win as well.
Yeah, they certainly will be doing that, and it'll be that mixture of I suppose, disappointment versus relief. Disappointment, we didn't get the full set of points, and relief, we didn't get none. So there is that tempering, but certainly at the end of the second day of the tournament, what you really want to do is you want to have that last win, because that last win sets up all the conversations coming into the third day. You come into that third day with power, with purpose, and you'd certainly have to bet a win here is going to have great knock-on effects for that team.
If we use a cricket analogy for a second, day 3 in a test, often called moving day. I suppose in a tournament like this, especially in this round robin scenario, you could use a similar analogy there, because these teams will be looking at where they are in those round robin tables. Have they got a possibility of going for a medal or going to the semi-finals? And then the results become really, really important.
They do, and this is a funny thing. So let's say one of the teams wins out of this game. They're going to go tomorrow. They're going to have that confidence, but also they don't feel pressured because it's not on that knife edge anymore. They're on the correct side of the cliff. Everything's good. If you lose here, you have to introduce a bit more risk into your games tomorrow. They become have-to-win games. And the funny thing is, in this game, it's been all about risk management. All the plays have been rock solid. And you wonder how these teams would change once they start introducing risk. And it's a little bit, it's interesting to see at the moment, neither team is changing their game plan. They're both going with a high percentage stuff. You have to respect them for that.
Yeah. And I think for Scotland as well, that as they come into this game with a 75% record, 1-3, lost 1. Ireland won 1, lost 2, drawn 1. So in that respect, the win is probably that little more not important, but probably crucial for Ireland in their with where they are in the table. However, as it is, Scotland have scored.
Catherine McCarty again, I'm betting. Here we go. We look at this one. Nice, reliable pass, and again, her ability to leave her feet planted as she just gets that full extension from the body, crashing into the ground to get that ball down. That's really good physical confidence and just fantastic play from her.
Another try for Catherine McHardy. Douglas Johnson though with a great pass to Ireland. Come again though.
I think a lesser player than Catherine wouldn't have scored as many touchdowns as she's got so far. So certainly pleased to have her in the team.
Scotland, Ireland.
You'd have to say at this point it's time for the Irish to actually start throwing a bit of pizzazz into this one, actually trying at a few interesting things, because as you said, they really do need to win this one. A draw isn't going to be the motivator that they need. A loss is certainly going to be a little bit crushing.
And Scotland do a great drive.
Lovely cover defence from the inside there. Don't see that very often, but
very important defence as well. Phillip looks to go through, but it's touched, and Ireland start again. 4 minutes to go, so time is there.
See their subs very eager to get on, so they're obviously aware of that clock and the pressure in the game. Let's see how they convert that into actions. They wouldn't be terribly thrilled with this 4th touch, and they haven't reached the 10-metre line of game there yet.
Always tripped over his own player. I think they kept the ball alive, no they haven't now. They'll be disappointed with that, I think. And it's given Scotland the chance to start again. One touch, and they're almost halfway over that. It was low, but taken. Scotland coming again.
They're just grinding this forward. They are so measured in their steps.
Stand away! Stand away!
Gain that ground, soak up that clock time. Brilliant play.
He's diving through.
And the referee thinks it's in. Yep, absolutely.
Yes, it is. And Scotland go 2 ahead. And that is going to be a crucial score in the context of this game. 7-5 that they lead now.
Look at the smiles in the Scottish subs box here at the front here. It's they are pleased.
And it's a great sliding try. Jamie Carruth popping the ball down as he slid through, and that 2-point cushion could be crucial now. You feel Ireland have to score from this drive.
They really do. They have to throw this. Oh, lovely.
Well taken. The touch is made.
But you can see now they're throwing it around on 1 touch earlier than they used to before, so they're obviously aware of that pressure. In the middle, try and draw the defenders. A little bit of individual brilliance. He's tried, he's had that half gap, hasn't quite been able to exploit it.
Going to the right hand side. Oh, well taken. But
fortunately,
no,
that ball has come forward.
It was forward. And well spotted by the referee.
The coordination between those 2 players was excellent. Yeah. They only had to create a half gap, and the man was already in that gap, ready to reach backward and pick up that ball.
Scotland drive forward again. I suppose they're caught. Do they try and run the clock down a bit, or do they try and put a cap on the game?
You go for the score, don't you? You go for the score.
And I think they're going to get it, are they? No. touch was made.
Guys, I want noise from me.
Winning by 3 in this one, if they can win by 3, that's an emphatic statement that we have confidence in ourselves, that we're a great team. Gets you a couple more ahead on that for and against. You've got one more player on your team who might score as well. That's a true motivator for this one.
We're heading into the final minute. I think it's probably a little too much to expect Ireland to score twice in a minute. It has been done before, but
I think you can score and then call a timeout, can't you? Isn't that how the sport works?
Unfortunately not. And that, I suppose that is one of the things with having that running clock. It doesn't stop at all.
It's once you're behind, you have to recognise that. You have to amp up the pressure on your own team because nobody else is going to save you from it. Certainly not American football here, where we have the clock stop and you have a quick think about things and change your plan.
Scotland, who are going to take the victory in what has been an excellent final match here on pitch 1 on day 2. It really has been a great exhibition of mixed touch rugby. And there goes the final hooter, and Scotland are just going to throw the ball away. And Ireland, you can see, are crushed by that defeat. They gave everything, and it takes 2 teams to have a brilliant match, and that was a brilliant match.
They certainly have been taken over by a team that's just displayed just that little bit more excellence. And I think Scotland would say they've been lucky with a couple of the players, but certainly I'd say the scoring player, Catherine McCarty there, I think she's been involved in 4 of their touchdowns throughout that game. Her handling skills, her ability to put herself right in the middle of that gap and get that ball down quickly, that has made an enormous difference on this match.
It certainly has, and it is Scotland who have the jump into day 3 with a great 7-5 victory. They go to 4-1. But don't forget that big game tomorrow, 9:35, England against Wales in the Mixed Open. Shanghai, it's been a pleasure to have your company as always. Thank you so much for jumping onto the commentary, and no doubt we will hear your dulcet tones again at some point again this week.
Let's hope so. Lovely to be up here, and I'd come back in a heartbeat, as always, mate.
Thank you so much.
Cheers, buddy.
Right, well, that is it for day 2. Many thanks to everyone who has joined us. It has been a great day here, and to wrap it all up, let's join Ian in the studio.
Well, day 2 draws to a close here in Nottingham for the 2022 European title.